the architect of modern Ethiopia. The life of Tewodros to 1855-1868. By the mid-19th century, Ethiopia was fractured. This was the Zamana Masafint, or Age of the Princes, 1769-1855, a century of civil war where regional warlords held the real power, and the emperor in Gondar was a mere figurehead. Kasa Hailu did not come from a royal lineage. He began as a shefta, or political rebel, in the lowlands of Kwara. But Kasa was no ordinary bandit. He was a military genius with a vision for a unified nation. Between 1852 and 1855, he launched a lightning campaign that shattered the old order. He crushed the powerful noblemen one by one, first Dajik Goshu at the Battle of Guramba, then the dominant Yeju dynasty under Ras Ali at the Battle of Ashel. Finally, in 1855, he defeated his last major rival, Dajik Weeb, at the Battle of Darasche. In a stroke of brilliant symbolism, he was crowned Emperor Tewodros II in the very church Weeb had built for his own coronation. The age of the princes was over. The era of modernization had begun. Tewodros was a man ahead of his time. He knew that for Ethiopia to survive as a sovereign state, it needed more than just courage, it needed technology. He began a massive effort to modernize the military. He didn't want to just buy guns. He wanted to make them. He established an industrial workshop at Gafat, where he famously commandeered European missionaries to teach his craftsmen how to cast cannons. His crowning achievement was the Sebastopol, a massive 7-ton mortar. At his mountain fortress of Magdala, he built an arsenal that housed over 11,000 rifles and 15 cannons. He was attempting to leapfrog centuries of development, turning a feudal society into a centralized gunpowder empire. Tewodros's internal reforms were matched by an ambitious foreign policy. He faced constant threats from the Egyptians, whom he called the Turks, and sought a strategic alliance with Christian Europe. Specifically, Great Britain, influenced by his British advisors, Bell and Plowden. He wrote a famous letter to Queen Victoria seeking an alliance and technical assistance. But the British government ignored him. To Tewodros, this silence was a deep, personal, and national insult. In a fit of frustration and desperation, he imprisoned the British consul, Captain Cameron, and several other Europeans at Magdala. He hoped to force the British to the negotiating table, but instead, he gave them a reason to invade. The end came in 1868. The British sent General Robert Napier with a massive expeditionary force of 32,000 men and 44 elephants. But the British didn't win on their own. They were helped by Tewodros's own internal rivals, most notably Kasa Mircha of Tigray, the future Emperor Yohannes IV, who provided the British with supplies and safe passage. On April 10, Tewodros's army was decimated at the Battle of Eroge. When the British finally stormed the gates of Magdala on April 13, the emperor's defenses had crumbled. Rather than face the humiliation of capture and being paraded through London, Tewodros II chose a final act of defiance. He took his own life with a pistol, a gift from Queen Victoria herself. Though he died in the ruins of his fortress, his legacy survived. He had set the blueprint for a unified, modern Ethiopia, proving that the age of the princes could be ended and that the nation could stand as a single, sovereign power on the world stage.